Did the world end in 1844 as prophesied? Well, actually it did. We know this because Christ guided the apostles to turn to the prophet Daniel to understand when the end of the world would take place. And when we looked at Daniel ourselves last week, we discovered that 1844 marks the end of the world. So how does 1844 mark the end of the world? Well, to understand this, we have to understand that there are two Greek words for the word world. One is cosmos and one is eon. Cosmos represents the physical world and eon represents era or an age. Remarkably, it's the Greek word eon that is used in the phrase end of the world instead of cosmos. But when the King James Version of the Bible was published in 1611, it was the word cosmos that was used as the translation instead of eon. Now, this has been corrected in the mid to late 20th century, where now the Bibles will show end of the world as the end of the age. For example, we can see this change reflected in the difference between the King James and New King James versions of the Bible. For example, the question the disciples asked Christ regarding the end of the world was translated in the King James Version of the Bible as, "What shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world?" Now, however, in the New King James Version of the Bible, it's translated as, "What shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the age?" And this same change is also reflected in the New International Version, the Revised Standard Version, etc. So 1844 marks the end of the age and the beginning of a new age. In another example, Christ's words, "I am with you always until the end of the world," have been replaced with, "I am with you always, even unto the end of the age." Of course, for over 400 years, the phrase end of the world seeped into our collective consciousness, and it's only now that we understand that this was not the question originally asked by the apostles. Still, if 1844 marks the end of the age and the beginning of a new age, the age when the return of Christ takes place in the new name Baha'u'llah, why hasn't the rapture taken place at the appearance of Baha'u'llah? And that topic we'll explore next week as we wait no more.